Well, I want to welcome everybody to the Lean Leadership Forum. We've been doing this pretty regularly since like 2005, maybe. I got to Cal Poly in 2004, and about a year or so after that, we sort of started doing this. The original idea for me was just to get a bunch of people that are interested in Lean and have some fun people to play with, because otherwise I just hang out in an academic world and work with students and professors, and they're not doing the same kind of exciting stuff that you guys are. So welcome. We're lucky enough to have our buddies at Zurn hosting today. Last time we were here was a few years ago, I think, so it's nice to revisit. They got a wonderful facility here, and I encourage you to sort of check it out as we go through. I want to make sure that I usually make the mistake of putting my advertisements at the end of this and when everybody's trying to get out the door. So I'm going to put my advertisement right up front. So we're doing a Lean for Office Environments workshop. You might say, Saturday? What are you guys, crazy doing Saturday? Well, it turns out if you want a room with a lot of computers at Cal Poly, Saturday is a great day, right? Because otherwise we use that room for teaching. So we're going to try to use it on Saturday, so if you're interested, talk to me or go to the website and sign up. That'd be a great thing. Here's our agenda for today. That's still the way we're going to do it. Talking to Nathan, maybe split into a couple of groups. We've got maybe 25 folks here, so maybe we do it in one group then.
Yeah. So sometimes it can get a little loud on the floor. So it helps to have a group of around 20, but we might be able to do it with a group of this size. If we get another 10 people in the door, we probably ought to cut the room in half and trade off.
Okay, all right, so sounds good. With that, Nathan and I got to talking at the Lean Summit. We're sitting next to each other at lunch, and I had gotten several inquiries from Cal Poly and a few other companies had contacted me towards the end of 2015 asking about, did I know anybody that knew anything about Lean warehousing? And I said, yeah, maybe. Based on that, talking to Nathan, it turns out, Zurn's got sort of a warehouse or a big stockroom sort of situation. And the idea was, well, let's get a bunch of people that have a common interest in Lean warehousing. And if we don't have the expertise right here in the room to help solve each other's problems, maybe we can sort of go on a quest or a mission to maybe figure out what those answers are. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nathaniel to kind of get us going here, and thank you for doing this.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. It's really nice to have you guys here. I think I'm going to talk about three things. I'm going to try and keep it as short as I can. Kick me if I'm going too long. So let's talk about physical space, physical limits. The question I pose to you guys is, what is the ideal warehouse? Small as possible.
Easily accessible.
Easily accessible, so there's no transport waste.
Good flow.
Good flow, yeah, absolutely. Safe. Safety first. So I would challenge you that the ideal warehouse is no warehouse, right? A warehouse is a waiting area. A warehouse causes waste in terms of transport and overproduction and all manner of problems. So it's ideally, if everything was perfect, we wouldn't even have to worry about warehouses, right? So in talking to some of my colleagues, we tried to map out what the ideal manufacturing setup might look like in terms of flow to avoid having the dead space of a warehouse. So what we kind of came up with more or less was a diamond shape. Right? If you knew exactly how many production lines you were going to have, you knew exactly how much space you needed, you could create this perfect building where things flowed right in. You'd have your receiving department right here. trucks coming in this way, maybe a staging area, right, for items. You could have all your assembly in the wide part, right here. This could be all your lines, all your production lines could come in here, and items could flow straight from the receiving department into your production lines, right? These production lines could be set up in a linear fashion so that you're turning parts into finished goods in a straight line. And then, of course, down here, your shipping department. People were talking about flow. This is that flow, right? You have the widening to allow for your assembly lines, and then you can move stuff straight out. Everything waterfalls right through. So there's a problem with this. There's a reason why we have warehouses. If someone's like has enough money and enough foresight to set this all up and make it right, they're probably going to be pretty successful, right? So success itself is the problem. You're going to have to grow. Even if you have night shifts and swing shifts and everything else in the whole world, you're going to have to add on. You're going to have to grow. So that's part of the reason that we have warehouses at all. So here at Zurn Wilkins, we started out with one big building. It's our building next door. Nice big manufacturing facility. We really got it set up really well, and eventually, because of growth and success, we had to add a second building. So our second building is our large backflow area. And again, we continued growing, so we had to add a third building. So our third building has our warehouse in the back. We've now situated a brand new assembly area called automatic control valve. We have our buy-sell parts, our shipping department, our receiving department, and we have various value streams in our original building that are dedicated to having sort of a mix and match of where the racking is, where the parts lie, and where the warehousing for them is. Our large backflow area, and we'll see when we go out there, it is fully contained in this building. So we're using a few different strategies. These guys have aisles down here in the warehouse and over here. Buy-sell relates directly to shipping, so it's all contained. Automatic control valve has all of its lanes, all of its warehouse aisles right next to it as well. So we've had to use a mix of strategies to be able to most effectively use the space. So that's the problem, is the growth. Recently, we moved out. We had to make more space. We had a space-saving plan, and we had a really large product called a WBR. It's a standpipe. They're 6 feet wide. They're 6 feet tall. They come in diameters from 4 inches to 10 inches. Some of them have couplings. Some of them have flanges on the ends. They're terribly awkward. They're dangerous. They're large. They're hard to move, and they were taking up a massive amount of floor space. So each one was taking up 3 aisles worth of racking. We were hoping that we were going to be able to build a new building, and some of the projections for sales in ACV were initially showing that we could do that. We got all geared up to do it. We had everything set for that, and then we got back another set of projections that just didn't look quite as favorable, and so we had to shelve the new building plan. Well, that meant that we had to now kick it into gear. We had to be lean. So one of the steps we took was getting those WBRs and making space for them in another spot. We couldn't have them in the building anymore. They were taking up too much valuable real estate. There was no good way to store these massive, heavy, difficult to move items safely in a way that was efficient. So we rented containers. So we have some containers outside that are helping us store those, and we've developed some methods for moving them and a ramp. So that really helped us transform our warehouse. But this is only a few months ago, so it's exciting to me because right now you guys get to come in and see our warehouse in the midst of some of these changes. Making a big change like that in our warehouse drove all new thinking. We got to remap out where everything goes, where all the departments keep their goods, how we get to them, all the way back to our ERP system. So I'm going to change subjects here a little bit, but we'll see more of that and talk more of that as we go out. But I've got another question for you guys. What do lean leaders do when we have departments that have competing interests? Mutually exclusive interests that aren't, it's one or the other. How do we move past that? Anybody? So we do Kaizen events, right? We try and get people together. We need to quantify what the benefits are. I know it's kind of a general question, but this relates right back to our journey in lean warehousing. We had a situation where our freight costs on the shipping side were being pressed on by the shipping department. We really wanted to lower our freight cost. The way to do that was to ship in full truckloads, to ship in you really own the truck, fill up every bit of the truck, which drove behavior of building more pallets, having more goods on hand, having a whole supermarket of goods we could draw from to really finish off those trucks. Send some extra stuff to our satellite warehouses, our service centers. So that was one side. The other side was the inventory side, the on-hand inventory side. Purchasing didn't want to have that much stuff, right? They're trying to lower our on-hand inventory dollars. So it was really exciting to have a Kaizen event where we brought these two sides together and had both come up with a plan for how they could address their problem and then compare the two sides. We quantified it in dollars. On-hand inventory dollars won the day by and far, although at the outset, nobody really knew that. On-hand inventory dollar savings was about $1 million. The freight savings, if we pushed everything into full truckloads, we would have saved maybe $40,000. So it was a huge spread. And it was very clear for us where we needed to evolve as a company, how we needed to go forward. That's very important. It's very important to, instead of stagnate and compete and butt heads on things, to really quantify it in equal dollar terms or equal units and press forward and evolve forward. So now, instead of, we've changed many things out there. Because of that, it's saved us floor space. We don't have to worry about the supermarket system anywhere near as much. We're shipping in less than truckload LTL shipments, which gives us, it allows us to lower our lead time, which gets parts to the customer, the products to the customer faster. It's better for us, it's better for production. It level loads the amount they have to provide us because they don't now have to, on a dime, turn around and give us a full truckload worth of goods. They can give us in smaller quantities as it's needed, which allows us to save space and inventory dollars at the satellite warehouses as well. So that was a really important part of our lean warehousing solution just in the past few months. Last little bit I want to talk about is transactional waste. So ideally, anybody at any time could look into a production system, an ERP system, and know where any part is out in the warehouse in a really granular level, right? It'd be really nice if we were able to track everything. The reality of the situation is being able to track everything out there isn't necessarily value added for our customers. They don't really care if we can point exactly where something is at any one moment. And the amount of investment it would take to be able to provide that internally would just be enormous. There's RFID tags, there's all manner of things that someone could do to really set up technologically a warehouse, but the actual benefit of this isn't really clear. It's not really, you can't measure it in dollars, and the waste it saves isn't necessarily worth the amount of work and the amount of capital you have to put into it. So for ourselves, when we changed over our warehouse area, we were able to really redefine how we look at things. We talked to our material handlers, we talked to the value stream leads, we talked to the value stream managers, and really tried to get a feel for, was our current system working? We had been using a bin system. So our production software could locate items based on a bin, and a bin was defined by a beam that held 2 pallets. We had multiple bins. Anybody moving items from or to a bin would have to use an RF gun to do so. This guy has a little app, syncs back up with our production software. You can imagine a material handler needs to get parts. When he needs them right away. He needs to get them to the guys that are building, and they need to be kept fed so that we can continue to build. So it's very important that it goes quick. Now, it doesn't take a long time to transact if everything's running perfectly. But these guys run out of batteries, they lose RF connection, you type in your password wrong a couple of times, it locks you out for 15 minutes. You can imagine all the different things that can come up to prevent you from correctly telling the ERP system where the items are. That right there means that we're constantly chasing our own tail every day. And of course, every day a few mistakes starts to compound over time. And pretty soon, we're having to do cycle counts, Kanban card audits, and it's pretty tough, right? So after talking about this at length and talking to our associates about it, we felt that the very best way to move forward for ourselves was to move our warehouse away from a bin location system to an aisle-based system. So right now we have everything based on aisles, and it'll make more sense when we go out there. But the aisles themselves are all one location, and we're driving more visual management to know where items need to go. Now, obviously, the aisles are laid out by value stream, so it's very clear who owns what. But less clear is where specific items need to go within that value stream, because we have people from receiving in the items. They need to be able to put those back in the warehouse if they're not immediately needed on the production line. So in putting them back in the warehouse, if we just have one big area that's meant for a value stream with multiple aisles, they may not have direction on where to put those items, where someone might be able to find them. So it's really important for us to change our whole visual management system out there to a new format. We're trying out something new right now. It almost looks like street signs. It has all the part numbers on them. We include barcodes on every part number that we post out there, which helps us during inventory. So we can, with our readers, we can grab those real quick if we need to put them into the system. But this new visual management system would never have come about if we hadn't have moved those WBRs, those standpipes outside, and redesigned the warehouse. So I think that's a really big lesson for us too. Driving real physical change out there really takes us all outside the box, lets us all see it as somebody just coming in. Whereas maybe all the material handlers and the value stream managers were just used to what the system was, where things go. Now it's much clearer for anybody coming in. So that's what I got. Any questions, you guys?
Where's your quality system?
So we have a quality department. We're going to talk about quality a little bit more when we go out there. And in the receiving department, we have a system that allows us to scan through our parts as they come in. And we want to check quality on these specific parts every so often. We have a system that allows us, that actually tells us via a color system, whether we can skip this and just send it straight over to production, or whether it's time to have it checked again, just to make sure it's okay. So we call that our skip ship system, and we use pink and blue coloring. So pink denotes we can just give it to the value streams. Blue means it's the QC color. It's we need to check this. We need to make sure these parts are good. We take a sample size of them and provide them to our QC department. We have to be able to do that. Our receiving department is pretty big. So it'd be difficult to lug around a laptop and a scanner and have it run through the laptop. We have some pretty big screens on the wall that actually will flash different colors based on how it comes up in the system as you scan it.
Could I suggest maybe rather than doing sort of a big sort of question, let's go see what the floor looks like.
Sure. And
then we'll sort of bring some of those questions back and do it then.
Excellent.
So good plan? All right, let's see this thing.
So we need to get some safety glasses. I've got a few different types. Anybody that has glasses, there's some over safety glasses to go over your glasses. And then we have just the regular ones.